Hebrews chapter 3. My friends, God has chosen you to be His holy people. So think about Jesus, the one who called our apostle and high priest. Jesus was faithful to God, who appointed him just as Moses was faithful in serving all of God's people. But Jesus deserves more honor than Moses, just as the builder of a house deserves more honor than the house. Of course, every house is built by someone, and God is really the one who built everything. Moses was a faithful servant and told God's people what would be said in the future. But Christ is the Son in charge of God's people, and we are those people, if we keep on being brave and don't lose hope. It is just as the Holy Spirit says, if you hear God's voice today, don't be stubborn, don't rebel like those people who were tested in the desert. For 40 years your ancestors tested God and saw the things He did. Then God got tired of them and said, you people never show good sense, and you don't understand what I want you to do. God became angry and told the people, you will never enter my place of rest. My friends, watch out. Don't let evil thoughts of doubt make any of you turn from the living God. You must encourage one another each day, and you must keep on while there is still a time that can be called today. If you don't, then sin may fool some of you and make you stubborn. We were sure about Christ when we first became His people, so let's hold tightly to our faith until the end. The scripture said, if you hear His voice today, don't be stubborn like those who rebelled. Who were those people that heard God's voice and rebelled? One day the same one that came out of Egypt with Moses? Who were the people that made God angry for 40 years? One day the ones that sinned and died in the desert? And who did God say who never entered His place of rest? One day the one that disobeyed Him? We see that those people did not enter the place of rest because they did not have faith. Hebrews chapter 4. The promise to enter the place of rest is still good, and we must take care that none of you miss out. We have heard the message just as they did, but they failed to believe that what they heard, and the message did not do them any good. Only people who have faith will enter the place of rest. It is just as the scripture said, God became angry and told the people, you will never enter my place of rest. God said this even though everything has been ready from the time of creation. In fact, somewhere the scriptures say that by the seventh day, God had finished His work, and so He rested. We also read that He later said, you people will never enter my place of rest. This means that the promise to enter is still good, because those who first heard about it disobeyed and did not enter. Much later, God told David to make the promise again, just as I have already said. If you hear His voice today, don't be stubborn. If Joshua had really given the people rest, there would not be any need for God to talk about another day of rest. But God has promised us a Sabbath when we will rest, even though it has not yet come. On that day, God's people will rest from their work, just as God rested from His work. We should do our best to enter that place of rest, so that none of us will disobey and miss going there as they did. What God has said isn't only alive and active, it is sharper than any double-edged sword. His word can cut through our spirits and souls and through our joints and marrow until it discovers the desires and thoughts of our hearts. Nothing is hidden from God. He sees through everything, and we will have to tell Him the truth. We have a great high priest who has gone into heaven, and He is Jesus, the Son of God. That is why we must hold on to what we have said about him. Jesus understands every weakness of ours because he was tempted in every way that we are, but he did not sin. So whenever we are in need, we should come bravely before the throne of our merciful God. There we will be treated with undeserved kindness, and we will find help.